So in this video, I will be talking about a traditional 2-light setup that I believe that every photographer should master. So hi everyone, this is Jiggie, a portrait and wedding photographer from the Philippines, and welcome to the channel. So before anything else, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel and would want to learn more about off-camera flash photography or maybe just photography in general, then this channel is for you. So you might want to consider subscribing, and while you're at it, click that notification bell so that you get notified every time I upload a new video. And if you want to see more of my images, you could always find me on Instagram. It's at Jiggie Alejandrino. So welcome once again to my small home studio. And for you guys who are not familiar with the channel, this shooting area is a relatively small shooting area. It is only about 3.5 meters deep and 2 meters wide. Now, in today's video, I will be talking about a traditional lighting setup that I believe every photographer should master. Now, what is this traditional lighting technique? I'll explain that later while I am shooting, but basically, let me go through the setup here now in the studio. Well, for starters, I have here a collapsible backdrop. It's like by Kate backdrop. It's just hanging on my Manfrotto auto poles. You know, it's just a very simple 1.2 by 1.2 meter backdrop that you can bring everywhere. And my light source will be this one. This is my Sony f60RM mounted on the Photix Cerberus. And the modifier that I'm using now is a Photix Raja 60 by 90. What is this Photix Cerberus? It's basically a flash mount that allows you to put a Bowens type modifier. So here, I just put in my Sony f60RM here. And of course, you can see here that my modifier also has a grid so that I can control the spill of the light. I also have another light source here, another Sony f60RM on the Photix Cerberus, but this time modified using the Raja Deep 60 Octabank. Now, the reason why I like using the circular modifiers whenever I'm shooting portraits is because I want those circular catch lights that mimic that of the natural sun. Okay, so now let's go on to the camera that I'm using. So the camera that I'm using is my Sony a7R Mark IV, and of course I have my Sony 85mm 1.4 GM lens installed because I will be shooting a portrait, and you know, if you guys are familiar with the channel, you know that this is my favorite portrait lens. Now, as usual, you will see everything that my camera is seeing via this recorder here, because what I'm doing is I'm connecting it via HDMI, and it is recording here to this external monitor so that I can give you a live view of everything that I am actually shooting. In other words, you will see the images before and after the shot, and everything that you will actually be seeing is straight out of the camera. In other words, absolutely no editing is going to be done. The edited photos will probably be at the very end of the video, so stick around if you want to see the processed images. So let's talk about the settings of my camera. Well, of course, I want my ISO to be at ISO 100, okay? Then I have my shutter speed at 1/250 f5.6. Why is that? Because you can see I have a lot of video lights here. When I turn off my trigger, this will actually show you what the camera is seeing. In other words, the exposure that's set in my camera now is set to remove all existing ambient light. So all the light that you will be seeing from here on end will come from these two flash units. These two flash units are controlled remotely using this one, the Sony WRC1M. Now, the nice thing about the Sony WRC1M, which you will see, is that the moment I turn it on, it will automatically disable live view. Therefore, you could see what you're actually shooting. And at the same time, because it's a Sony trigger for a Sony camera, I will just press a button here, which I've set, and it will show you the exact settings of my flash. Now, this particular flash is set on group A, and that one is set on group B so that I can control each flash power individually. As you can see now, I actually have it set. Group A is on full power, and my group B is on half power. My white balance is also going to be set to 5600 Kelvin because these lights are rated at 5600 Kelvin. And of course, I want my white balance to be consistent all throughout. If ever I do decide that I want to shift my white balance eventually in post, the beautiful thing about setting your white balance is that you can always just make one adjustment in one photograph, then copy the white balance to all the other photographs just because you set your white balance already consistently while you were shooting. Okay? So with all those settings out of the way, it's time for me to call in my wife, who will be my subject for today. Babe, come on in. Hi, babe. And as usual, you look fantastic. And we'd like to thank our friend, take a seat, babe. And we'd like to thank our friend, Mela Jimenez, for virtually assisting Coco put on her makeup for today. Okay, so what are we gonna do? First, can you just move here a little bit, babe? And no, just lean forward so that they can see what the light is doing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off first group B, which is that light over there. We'll turn it off, and I will only show you light coming from group A. So what we're trying to do here is we're basically trying to mimic the light coming from a beautiful window light, but giving very dramatic portraits. Now, what is this thing about traditional lighting that I was discussing earlier? Normally, when you have two lights, you will have your main light here, which is this one, and the kicker light would normally be behind the subject to be able to create a bit of separation. Now, however, traditional lighting dictates that you actually want to mimic that light coming from that beautiful window, or really just having beautiful, natural looking light. So if you actually try to imagine one big window here, you will be getting light that wraps around your subject. So the purpose of this light here is to create a kicker light, and the light coming from here is to be able to make the light wrap around, making it seem as if these two lights are just basically one light. That is traditional lighting. So let's get back to this one. So let's show you what this particular light is doing. There we go. That is my main light over there. So that's the light coming from her, and you can see you've got that loop lighting here that's very typical of very classical type of portraits. So from there, let's turn off this one, and I will show you what this other light is going to be doing. Basically, it is just creating a nice rim here in order for us to have that separation, to just make it look, to give a little bit of depth. Because for you to be able to get depth in an image, you always have to have at least highlights, your true tone, and of course your shadows. Okay, so let's turn on both lights now, and basically let's get into your pose, babe. All right, so we came up with this really nice pose for you guys. So okay, perfect. All right, so can you pop your shoulder in a bit more? And what I want to do here is really show off the beautiful jawline of Coco. Tilt your head this way, babe. There, perfect. Good. Pop your shoulder in a bit more. Perfect. That's it. And look how beautiful the light looks. It looks as if it was just shot with one light. Now, can you hold that pose again, babe? I just want to show them something. I, again, will turn off group B, which is that light over there. Tilt your head away. Yeah, perfect. That is just the light coming from here. And then let's turn off group A just to show you the light that's coming from that background light there again. Okay, babe, go ahead. Okay, so that's the light that you're getting there. Having both of them on. So here are the images side by side, straight out of the camera. Absolutely no editing has been done yet. You could see the one that has that kicker light in the back really has more depth. It gives more shape to the image because of the highlights that that particular light is creating, and it just works seamlessly together to create one natural looking light. However, I find that it does have a lot of contrast. In other words, the other side of the image is still a bit dark. That's why we have this one. This is my ever dependable reflector, which is just basically a 30 by 60 cm foam board, which I will put here. Now, this one serves as another light source also. The closer that I put it, the more it opens up the shadows. The further I take it away from the subject, the more shadows are created. So let me show you. I will have it here really close to Coco now. Same pose, babe. Again, having it really close to her will remove all the shadows, therefore removing that depth of the image, the shape of the image. So this is too close. Let me now try to move it this way, this far. Let's take one more shot. It's basically not doing anything anymore. So I think the best position would be somewhere here in the middle, just to open up the shadows. And what I'm doing is I'm catching the light that's coming from that light over there, the kicker light, and it's going to bounce back to open up the shadows here. I'm not getting the light from my main light, but rather from my kicker light. So there, perfect. Okay, shoulder in, babe, perfect. Tilt your head away. Perfect. I think we're getting too much, we're removing too much of the shadow. We'll bring it back a bit more, because I really want shadows in my image, because that's the one that creates a shape. Okay, one more. Beautiful, that's it. And that's traditional lighting for you. Basically, what we are doing is we are creating, let me remove this one, is that we are creating the look of a natural looking, natural light. In other words, we are taking the principle of beautiful window lighting and creating it with two different light sources so that we can control the power of each light source, therefore giving some beautiful highlights, at the same time creating that depth using this one. This is my main light. That's the one that's giving the proper exposure. This one gives the highlight. And of course, we have shadows here. So all three things put together will give you that shape, form, texture, and depth of your image. Now, that is what you would normally see whenever you have your subject right in front of your really beautiful window. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And of course, thank you very much, babe, again for doing this. And if you guys want to learn more about off-camera flash photography, I do hold one-on-one online workshops, the details of which I will put in the description below. And if you want to see the output of this image, stick around till the end of the video, or follow me on Instagram, it's at Jiggie Alejandrino, or follow Coco at Coco Alejandrino. Okay, till the next video.